Welcome into Mavericks Today by Chat Sports. I'm Harrison Graham, and Mavs are hot. Mavs are very, very hot. We're going to talk about their win streak, how Luka and Christian Wood have been playing, plus a couple of trade rumors as well. So stick with us here as the Mavericks have their first 7-game winning streak since, what happened that year, the 2010-11 season? They won a title. Pump the brakes. I don't think this is a championship contender just yet, but they are certainly playing a lot better basketball than they have been. Now, they didn't play great last night by any means, had to come from behind, but took down the Rockets 111-106. Luka Doncic 39, 12, and 8. Christian Wood's playing good ball, 5 blocks. I mean, his commitment to the defensive end has been great. Tim Hardaway's hot and cold continues. He was hot last night as he went 5 for 11 from three-point range and had 21 points. What's crazy about Luka is, and he's been this way for a couple years, but he's getting to the point where his average games are like 30, 10, and 7. I mean, like, he was 10 of 26 from the field last night, but he still finds a way to get 39 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists. I mean, the guy just does everything for this team. It's pretty remarkable to watch, and what's been great, even though this team hasn't necessarily played great in this 7-game winning streak, they're 4th in the West now. I mean, that's how tight things are going to be throughout this season. And what is that, Coop? About a 2.5 games back of Denver. I mean, they're not far from the top of the Western Conference as things continue to shuffle here. Mavericks 22-16, and it's kind of funny. So they were 15-16, and they've won 7 in a row. I believe they were 16-18 last year when they got hot. So very similar times in the season. So, maybe there is something to, Jason Kidd, takes 20, 25 games to kind of figure out what he wants to do with his lineup and rotation. And now they're starting to gel. And I think a big part of that is putting Christian Wood in the starting lineup and obviously Luka carrying the team as well. Very similar to LeBron with the Cavs in 06-07. I will say this, though. I think that Christian Wood is better than anybody LeBron had on that team. I mean, what he's been doing as of late is playing like an all-star. 20 points, 7 rebounds, 3 blocks. The splits have been there all year. I mean, what he's been able to do is, from an efficiency standpoint offensively, these are all-star types of numbers. I mean, and I don't think it's a coincidence that ever since he entered the starting lineup, he's been better on the defensive end because he feels like the Mavs are more invested in him now, so he might be a little bit more invested on the court as well. He's been the best shot blocker in the league since he's been in the starting 5. I mean, it's just crazy that, guys are motivated in different ways. Not that he was playing poorly off the bench, but I do think it kind of gave him a jolt of energy. Like, all right, I get to start these games. I'm playing with Luka from the beginning. Let's go. I'm on a team that has a chance to win some games. It's never happened before, and boom, the guy's having a great stretch here, and he's playing really, really well this season. Speaking of which, could extension discussions start to take place between Christian Wood and the Dallas Mavericks? Now, he is eligible for a 4-year, $77 million extension. There was a deadline on Christmas that he wouldn't be eligible for that until now. Obviously, he could just wait until free agency and get a bigger deal if he thinks he could get one, which keeps playing like this. The answer to that would probably be yes. So, Dallas, if you like what you see and he's open to an extension now, don't make the same mistake twice, because we saw what happened with Jalen Brunson. They let it go, and then he made way more money and signed with the Knicks in free agency. Tim MacMahon discussing this possibility on the Low Post podcast through ESPN. He says, I don't think that they can get cute on the money part of it. I think if they're asking to do a 2-year deal, I think they have to throw as much money as they legally can at him, which would be a little under $36 million over the course of that 2-year extension. Again, that would set them up to have him in place here, but still have that flexibility for 2025, but it's still a short-term marriage. So the reason the idea of a 2-year extension is in place is, one, a lot of the Mavs contracts kind of wipe out or are off the books that year, and the cap's going to go up in 2025. That's when new TV money is expected to come in, and the cap could go up, 30% or something like that. But like I mentioned earlier, I'll say it again, this is similar to the Brunson situation. Like, you've got to make a decision. If you want to keep him, you got to bring that to the table. Now, he might hit you with, hey, I'm going to take my chances, hit free agency, and that's fine, but I think you have to try and lock him down, whether it's a 2-year, 4-year, whatever the case may be, because, listen, the Mavericks can let him go and try to swing for something bigger, but How has that worked out in the past? I mean, it just has not worked out. And I think if him and Luka continue to gel like this, let's say this goes on through the month of January, like get a bigger sample size, 7, 8 games into this. Let's say another 15 games go by, and it's very similar results. They're winning. He's playing well with Luka. You've got to attack this. I mean, you really have to try and secure something here, because this is a guy that, if he's playing like this, is probably a top 10. Top 15 big in the league at this exact moment. I mean, he's playing like it. 20-7, 3 blocks, and he's shooting 42% from 3, 55% from the field. You find splits similar to that for 6'11 guys in the league. I don't think you're going to find many of them. What would you do with Christian Wood? Because the other option is he's hot right now. You trade him before the deadline, try to get a better player, which I'm not closed off to that idea if you actually can't trade for a big-time piece. But let me know what you would do. Type T for trade Christian Wood. Type E for extend. I think if he keeps playing like this, keeping him around is going to make sense, but give your thoughts down in the comments. Thanks to Rocket Money for sponsoring today's show, and what Rocket Money has helped me do is save money by canceling any unnecessary subscriptions that I had, which I had several. You can do the same. Go download the app at rocketmoney.com/NBA now. That link is in the description of this video. What Rocket Money does is, keeps you on track for your upcoming bills, your overall finances, but also it shows you all of your subscriptions on one screen and basically says, yeah, you're spending $20 per month on this subscription, $15 a month on this, on that, and then you look down, you're like, oh my God, I'm probably spending over $200 per month. I want to cut back. I'm not watching Prime Video right now. Cancel. Not listening to Spotify. Cancel. Get rid of any subscriptions you don't want by clicking a single button, the cancel button, next to any of those subscriptions. They take care of the cancellations for you. You don't have to reach out to any companies to cancel and stop your billing. You will no longer be getting charged. So use the Rocket Money. It's very helpful. rocketmoney.com/NBA now. Download the app today for free, and you're going to have heavier pockets in the year of 2023. Let's get to some trade buzz. How about JaVale McGee? Could he get traded? I mean, I don't know who's taking him, but maybe he can, he could be part of some kind of facilitation in a trade, something like that. Maybe a team has an injury at center and could use his services. Here's Bleacher Report here saying, with McGee on the floor this season, Dallas is minus 18.3 points per 100 possessions. It's plus 5 without him. And while he's basically been out of the rotation for a month, Dallas Mavericks fans might still be worried. He'll be back in at some point. In the front office, if the front office finds an opportunity to walk back this signing and relieve Coach Jason Kidd of the option to play him, it needs to take it. Let's be honest, this just didn't work. I mean, I'm not saying the guy won't ever contribute in a game throughout the rest of his tenure here, but up to this point, it's been a disaster. I mean, the good news is, yeah, it's a 3-year deal, but a 3-year, $24 million deal, whatever it is, isn't going to just break you financially. But I mean, you didn't pay for this. Like this is just a joke. I mean, it's like he signed and he just was cooked the day after he signed. I mean, it's just remarkable how this happens sometimes in sports. You bring guys in, but his game should fit well here. I mean, as a lob guy, but he doesn't have that springiness. He doesn't have explosiveness, doesn't look that interested. I don't know. It's disappointing to see how it's played out. We'll see if something changes, but that is where we're at. Overspoke on the contract, but still, you didn't pay for that production. But the good news is he's not burying you financially. Like, it's not like this wouldn't be like Nerlens Noel had he signed the $70 million contract and you're like, well, we're screwed because we gave him $70 million and he's not producing like that. Ironically, Noel's actually played better since then, but still not to that level. Doesn't hurt the Mavs too much, but the roster spot is critical. I mean, if you could almost move him and just free up a spot and get, a cheap 3-and-D wing or something. I mean, you would prefer that, but it has not worked, to say the least. Now, who's more likely to get traded? Obviously, different values and for different reasons here. Type 35 if you think it's Christian Wood, 00 for JaVale McGee. Weirdly enough, it might still be Wood because he's actually worth something. McGee is not. I don't know who's taking on his services. Maybe a team that is willing to take on a bad contract, but I mean the Mavs aren't going to give up a first-round pick to do it. So 35 for Wood or 00 for McGee. The Mavs are heating up, and so is our coverage. Our last couple videos, you guys have been tuning in more, so appreciate the support. Hit that subscribe button for Mavericks coverage all year long. Trade deadline will be here in, February, March, Coop, couple months. February 9th. I mean, it's coming up, so a lot of trade buzz this month, so hit that sub button. We're going to have you covered for all of it. Speaking of which, what is the latest on Jae Crowder? Why has he not been traded? It's very interesting. This feels like it's going to be one of those, I mean, could this be like a Goran Dragic situation where, they're going to wait until the trade deadline, and if a trade doesn't come, they just cut him or something, that maybe that happens. Brian Windhorst of ESPN had this update, says on the Jae Crowder front, one of the issues is that there isn't a straight-up trade the Suns have liked for him. So they've tried to do these 3-team trades. They may have to lower the standard. I think they have to lower the standard. I mean, when the team and the player come together and agree to move on, you're not going to get peak value. I mean, that's just how it works. I would like to see the Mavs capitalize on this. Hey, maybe JaVale McGee goes back to a team that he plays pretty familiar, or that he was pretty familiar with and played well for. So here's our trade idea. Jae Crowder and Dario Saric, you get kind of a big back if you're moving McGee here, for Bertans, JaVale, and 2 second-round picks. I would do that trade. I would absolutely do that trade. I don't know if the Suns would take it, but it would clear cap next year with Bertans and McGee coming off your books. Crowder helps you right away. Sarge can come in and score a little bit as well. So I would absolutely do this. I don't know if Phoenix would. You may have to sweeten the deal with a young piece. I don't think the Mavs would trade a Josh Green. Would they consider a Jaden Hardy? Probably not. But that could be something that would sweeten the pie just a little bit. Now, do you guys want Jae Crowder back in Dallas? I would like to see it, especially with Reggie Bullock being mostly ineffective this year. Type Y for yes. Type in for no. Chime in down in the comments section. And get the MFFLs going down in the comments as well. 7 straight wins. Let's keep it going. Let's get to 8, 9, 10. And you MFFLs, let us know how excited you are about this team. I'm Harrison Graham. We'll see you next time here at Mavericks Today.